What is going on, everybody? Brent's Bricks back here again with another Lego set review for you guys. This is the 2021 Lego Star Wars Luke Skywalker's X-Wing fighter. Set number 75301. Did that stupid little intro just because out of the 5 sets I got, I couldn't decide which one I was going to build first. And well, while I was doing that dumb skit, I guess I went ahead and went with this one. Let's get straight into the time lapse. The first minifigure we are going to talk about from this set is R2-D2. This is the same exact R2-D2 you have seen in many other Lego Star Wars sets over the years. Nothing new with this one. I would love to see Lego go and add some back printing to R2-D2 there. You know, we've been getting the same R2-D2 kind of year in and year out. It would be nice if Lego would mix it up a little bit with R2-D2. They still also kind of struggle to get this head printing evenly all the way around the R2-D2 there, so the least they could do would be to add some back printing onto this figure, but nonetheless a very necessary figure to have in this set. For the Luke Skywalker in this set, he looks absolutely amazing. We've got great prints all the way down the torso, hips, and onto the legs there. A bit of back printing there. And as you can see there, back to the old style of helmets. I think this is a way better option, as to those old ones just were way too bulky comparing to the rest of the figures. He does have an alternate face with his visor flipped up. And other than that second face, that is basically everything for this Luke Skywalker minifigure. The Princess Leia in this set looks absolutely fantastic. Everything from the iconic hairpiece to the awesome sort of gritting her teeth expression right there, to the torso print all the way down to her dress print, and even around to the back you will see printing on the bottom. And then of course the back printing looking very great as well. She has a small black pistol, and if we spin her around, she has a smiling expression on the back as well. A very nice and very iconic figure nonetheless. And for the figure that most people buying this set are going to be most excited for is General Dodonna. Now, if you're the more casual Star Wars fan and you're not sure who this character is, it's this guy.
The approach will not be easy. You're required to maneuver straight down this trench and skim the surface to this point. The target area is only 2 meters wide.
I think Lego did a wonderful job in capturing that character's look in Lego. His face printing is super nice and accurate to how he looks in the film. His torso printing looks great. Even the very small Rebel insignia on his jacket right there. Super tiny detail. He's got very good printing on his waist and legs as well. If we flip his hair around, he does have an alternate facial expression, kind of more of a stern, serious look. All that being said, General Dodonna, a super awesome character to get in this set. Let's move on and look at this X-Wing. So, the $50 X-Wing. I think finally seeing it in person, I'm really impressed with it. I think the overall size is surprisingly big, you know, comparing to back when they first announced that, hey, we're doing a $50 X-Wing. I think a lot of us thought, oh man, is this going to be like almost like the 4+ X-Wings, you know, like super bare minimum details and things like that. But I do think the overall model looks really nice. I think all the stickers are very appropriate. There's not too many. They're all easy to put on, and they all bring some really nice detail to the model. The wing system has completely been overhauled and is now all Technic and absolutely no more rubber bands. So if we just push down on this Technic piece right here, the wings will pop open like so. And then to close it, you simply just close them back up like that. Or if you have your wings open like that and you just come through and set it down, the wings will close on their own. I think that is super, super great. The overall color scheme and everything they've done to make this Luke Skywalker's X-Wing look accurate to the movie is great. And even the back, I know a lot of people kind of talked about this back section right here looking a little bit too boxy. And I think, you know, seeing it in person, you know, from certain angles, it definitely doesn't look too boxy. I think it's maybe one thing they can improve on and try to make that a little bit less blocky. But other than that, I think the overall look of the whole thing is very nice. Now let's go ahead and talk about some things that I'm not so crazy about on this set. So for some of the negatives about this set is some of the building techniques leave this to be not the most sturdy X-Wing ever. For example, this kind of whole new Technic system in here makes the wings not the most sturdiest. I mean, you can just pull these wings right off because they only connect with those two Technic pins there. And now, while I do like this system, and I'll explain why I think in the long run that is a good system to have for the functionality of the wings, I think it does have with some negatives and positives since the wings are so dang loose like that. Also, in terms of how sturdy this thing is, the landing gear, as you saw earlier, pops off pretty dang easily, as well as even these back ones are on there with just one little stud. So the landing gear comes off pretty easily. One other aesthetic thing I am not the craziest about is these little blue Technic pins that kind of bleed through right there and that are really easy to see, especially when you have it in attack position. Then you can even see a third. Not the best look in terms of wanting to be movie accurate. Just one other thing I'm not too crazy about with the set is kind of how high R2-D2 sits up out of the X-Wing there. If we kind of get a better angle here, you can really tell he's like only halfway in there. So I did a little bit of tinkering and I did find a way to make him sit a little bit lower. So I will show you that super quick. So basically we got in there and we removed these little jumper plates right there. And obviously those are meant to be put in there so you can take R2-D2 in and out a little bit easier. But let's be honest, when you have about 20 R2-D2s, how often are you really going to need to take them out of this thing? So take those jumper plates out, put R2-D2 in there. Thus he sits much more flush in there. I mean, instead of looking like he's halfway up out of there, that one less plate of a difference really makes him sit in there flush. So I'm going to get rid of those jumper plates and keep mine that way because I really don't think I'll need to take my R2-D2 in and out of this thing that often. After all of that, I think that really improves the look of the R2-D2. He sits in there much more flush and it doesn't look like he's sticking about halfway out of the X-Wing. And I almost forgot to show you Luke Skywalker in the cockpit. There are no studs down in there, just like they do most of the modern cockpits, so that way he slips right in there and he is not super hard to get back out of there. There's Luke, ready to go, ready to take down the Death Star with R2-D2 right behind him. And pulling him back out of there, super easy. Okay, so seeing both of these X-Wings next to each other, $30 price difference on these. So if you really look at the the scale of these things. The Pose X-Wing is definitely longer and definitely a little bit wider at the wingspan. To be honest, for $30 less, I think this is incredibly good. You know, aside from a couple of the negatives that I pointed out, I think this is a super, super good set, especially for the price. I mean, when you look at some of the X-Wings now, how they're $90, and you have the General Grievous Starfighter that's $80, and it's around the same amount of pieces as this, you know, I really think this is something that LEGO should keep on the shelf for a long time. Now, to compare a couple other things about these sets, and the reason why I think that new wing feature is so much better than the rubber bands. Yes, the rubber bands are nice. They lock into place and everything, and when you put it down, they still stay open. But to be honest, after a while, you start to get that. Now, I know all I'd have to do is get some new rubber bands, put them on there, and it'd be like new, but still though, you know, me not even shaking it, the bottom wings just start to droop a little bit, versus if this thing sat on my shelf for as long as that one did, the wings are still nice and they're not going to be sagging down on the bottom. They will still be rock solid. So I think in the long term, the new design for these wings with all those Technic pieces is better, but these wings on here are much more sturdy. As you can see, the connection points on these, you know, they're on there with Technic, like they are not coming off, versus the wings on here, you can just pull them right off. And before we get into the final opinion, the instruction booklet here is very, very standard Star Wars instructions, nothing at all special going on. In the back, it's still going to show you a look at some of the rest of the 2021 sets coming later this year. And as well, on the very, very back, we have an ad for the Skywalker Saga Lego game, which I'm super, super pumped to get into that. And other than that, nothing special going on there. Also, the box art for this set is super, super good. I mean, can't really get much better than the Red 5 X-Wing in the trench run about to blow up the Death Star. Very, very nice. And on the back there, you can kind of see the X-Wing in a little hangar bay getting ready to take off and go into action. So, for my final opinion on this, I think this set is absolutely fantastic. I mean, especially for the price point of $50. I mean, you can imagine this set would go on sale at some point and you could get a squadron of X-Wings for around $35, $40 a piece. I mean, just wait for it. I can already see the mocks of trench runs and just several X-Wings and several TIE fighters. And yeah, I think it's just a really good thing for LEGO to keep on the shelf for a long time. A $50 X-Wing, I mean, that's something that's always going to be selling constantly. Today I drove to 2 or 3 Targets to try to track one of these things down. And when I got there, there was only 2 left. I think the price really makes up for the few small imperfections of the set, like the blue Technic pin showing there and the wings not being the most sturdy in the world. I mean, it's not a huge deal breaker. It's still very swooshable, you know, it's not gonna fall apart or anything if you're playing with it. Now, some kids are definitely gonna be knocking that landing gear off, but other than that, the whole set's not gonna fall apart on you. Do I think the set is worth it for the price? Absolutely. I think it's a no-brainer, especially with 4 good minifigures that come with it. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribing, commenting, liking the videos, everything we've done over the last 4 days. I absolutely cannot believe that I am over 150 subscribers. I mean, I just can't even believe I'm saying that. So really, thank you all so much. I really can't say it enough. Be sure, if you haven't already, to watch my video on the 501st Battle Pack giveaway. All you have to do is be subscribed and leave a comment on that video so I can then see your account name and then enter you in the giveaway. I really can't say it enough. You all are so amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, never stop building.